Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your daily dose of zombies news from the game and its community here on COD Zombies HQ. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We have got a lot to talk about, so let's kick things right off with our first story of the day. Ever since the release of Cold War Zombies' first two regular zombies maps, Die Maschine and Firebase Z, players have noticed a stark difference in Treyarch's idea of what a main Easter egg in a zombies map should be like. And while players like us theorized about why Treyarch changed Easter eggs here in Cold War Zombies to make them much more simple or easier to complete, Treyarch themselves never really spoke about why they decided to make this change until now, where for the first time in an interview over at IGN, several of the main zombies developers over at Treyarch now finally get to explain why they made this change from their own perspective. Firstly, Treyarch begins by admitting, yes, they did on purpose make Easter eggs easier in Cold War Zombies, saying this: "On this project, we actually made it a mission to make Easter eggs more accessible, or what we call the main quest, just the other words for the main Easter egg," says Corey Lemke, studio creative director at Treyarch. "There are some side Easter eggs that are still somewhat obscure and you'll have to find, but for the main quest, we wanted more players to experience it." So that first part does confirm what we all suspected, that Treyarch made Easter eggs easier on purpose in Cold War Zombies, where before a lot of Zombies players were really excited about working out some of the details and finding out what the steps are for the main quest. Now, because the main Easter egg is so easy and straightforward, that sense of mystery and discovery is now kind of shifting into the side Easter eggs in the Zombies mode. As to why they decided to make this change, Treyarch says this: "So much of the development time goes into these things, and if you look at the metrics, less than 2% of the players were actually seeing that stuff, were actually completing the Easter egg, unless it was shown on YouTube. If you look at YouTube now or on Reddit, a lot of people are completing their first Easter eggs ever, and they've been with the franchise for the full 10-12 years. So firstly, Treyarch is claiming here that their data seems to indicate that only around 2% of players that play a Zombies map actually end up completing the main Easter egg, which, to be honest, in the grand scheme of things, is actually a little bit higher than I thought it would be. I'd probably imagine it would be probably closer to 1.5%, but still, 2% of the entire player base playing a map is kind of not high enough to justify the amount of development that goes into making these main Easter eggs. Now, interestingly, he does offer the caveat saying that, well, there's 2% of players in-game that actually complete the Easter egg unless it was shown on YouTube, which kind of says to me that more people actually watch the main Easter egg on YouTube than actually play it in-game, which I guess makes sense if you're only like a casual player of Zombies, or you're interested in Zombies a lot, but for whatever reason you can't be bothered to follow a whole bunch of steps, or your friends just don't care enough to help you with it, then I can see why you just want to watch the main Easter egg on YouTube rather than actually play it in the game. As a result of Treyarch's changes to the main Easter egg in this game, they are claiming that they are seeing some results, saying, "I love seeing players first round 100, first round 50, so yes, we've definitely made it a priority to make Easter eggs less obscure and make sure the steps make more sense with the narrative. They're still challenging, but they're not crazy hard like they used to be." Now, these comments and this new philosophy of Treyarch towards main Easter eggs has provoked a little bit of discussion in the Zombies community, that some players are saying that yes, while the Easter egg is a lot easier and easier to find out, that does have the result of kind of lessening the importance of one of the most interesting parts of releasing a new Zombies map, at least in the general Zombies community, that being the hunt for the main Easter egg itself. As in the case of Die Maschine and Firebase Z, full Easter egg was totally found and discovered within an hour or two of the Easter egg going live in game, which does kind of end up backing up the belief that just dumb Easter egg steps equal a longer hunt. If you guys remember back to Revelations DLC 4 for Black Ops 3, that hunt for the main Easter egg was one of the longest ever. Players just couldn't get past one step of the Easter egg because it was just incredibly obscure and just didn't make any sense. But because of those two things, people didn't find out about it for quite a long time, which made the Easter egg hunt even more interesting. But of course, the downside of that is the steps to the Easter egg don't make sense and are just not that fun to complete. I'd love to know what you actually value in an Easter egg in a Zombies map. Is it that the steps are easy and straightforward, or is it more important for the Easter egg to be challenging, but the mystery and the community solving it for the first time is more important? But beyond that, in this interview again, Treyarch reiterates that the Aether storyline from COD WoW to Black Ops 4 is over. Hard stop. They say this: I think the thing that's really important is that the previous incarnations, which we call the Aether story, which involve Richtofen and all of those characters, that came to a definite end at the end of the Black Ops 4 season, and we were passionate about rewriting his story. This is Craig Houston, lead writer at Treyarch, talking now. One of the things I said was that those characters did what they did to try to create a singular world where zombies didn't exist, and unfortunately, because of the experiments in WW2, they were only half right. This is no longer a time-traveling, multi-dimensional story. This is grounded in Cold War. So while we've seen little Easter eggs and glimpses of our past in the Aether storyline, as shown by Samantha Maxis's attire in the Firebase Z ending cutscene, where she's wearing a bunch of iconic gear that some of the Primis characters wore, Treyarch is saying once again that all that stuff is done and gone, move past it. For whatever reason, we don't end up getting a lot of third-party interviews with Treyarch Zombies developers all that often, so when they do actually talk to people, their responses are very interesting most of the time. But moving on to our next story of the day, a universal code to unlock some free exclusive items has been found that lets you unlock 5 separate items in Cold War. These items are branded around Doritos and Mountain Dew, but hey, if you wanted to stick a chip charm on your weapon or throw a Mountain Dew bottle on there to show off to your friends for whatever reason, you can now do that for free. I'll stick the code and the redemption link down in the description for you to check out after this video's over. Next up, some interesting and honestly terrifying found footage has been recently found by a Zombies player, Redditor Tomasa Cortez 27 over on Reddit, who was walking down his actual street when a Panzer Soldat suddenly appeared in front of him, did his little attack animation, and then moved in to take down the player. Unfortunately, these 7 seconds are the only footage we have of this thing right now, and we cannot confirm if the player from whose perspective this is taken from stayed up or ended up going down to this Panzer after this video was over. But straight up, Thomas, that's an insane cosplay. You obviously did a lot of work on it. It looks fantastic. It's about one of the most terrifying and impressive cosplays for zombies I've ever seen, so huge congrats to you. That thing looks absolutely amazing. Next up, fellow Zombies YouTuber CodNamePizza put up a video today that shows that currently in Cold War Zombies, you're able to actually pack a punch and apply alternate ammo types to the death machine. It's not confirmed whether this papped death machine actually does more damage than a regular one, but CNP does show in his video that the alternate ammo types do work. If you want to see how to do it and a bunch of other myths he features in his video, be sure to check the link down in the description when this video's over. Because next up, as players continue to try to actually complete the difficult knife lunge boost jump to skip the first door by in the Firebase Z spawn, players like Blops2HisBest over on Reddit show that there should be kind of a warning to trying this in your own solo game, as any slight screw up in it can actually end up forcing you to go down. As he demonstrates in his video, he gets a whole lot of height but isn't able to vault over that second railing, resulting in him going down from fall damage itself. So just be aware that if you're continuing to try this in your game, it's probably more safe to do it in a co-op game rather than when trying it solo. Next up, it's time for your daily dose of vehicles versus Outbreak, where in the last edition, Super Ericsson YT showed off the hydraulic system of his rover. Reddit user BugWingX hoped to one-up him by showing off the fact that his rover doesn't just have hydraulics, but it has a full-on rocket launch system that's looking to propel his rover all the way to Mars. This thing gets an absolutely insane amount of height, and what I like about it the best is that when it finally returns back to Earth at the speed of a meteor, it does this insane bounce back up into the air before finally settling down on its 4 wheels. But next up, in a big update to the community poll to determine what definitively is the best Zombies Outbreak map right now, according to the consensus of the community, before when there was only 16,000 votes to answer this question, these were the results, with Golova maintaining 50% of the vote, Alpine at 37, and Ruka at 13. Well, now with there being over 52,000 votes, let's see how the results have changed. And that answer is somehow Not much, with Golova still maintaining 50% of the entire 52,000 votes, Alpine dropping only 1% down to 36, and Ruka getting a 1% bump to 14% of that entire vote. So Golova does seem to be the consensus favorite amongst the Zombies community as being the best Outbreak map now that the poll's a few days old. For me personally, and amongst the Zombies crew that I play with, I think that we kind of like the Alpine map the best. That's the snowy mountain map, as every single time we play on Alpine, it's fun as all heck to take a running jump off a rock and just parachute all the way down to the base of the mountain, or alternatively just bombing down one of the ski slopes on a snowmobile while hitting those strategically placed jumps is just a whole lot of fun. I dig that map a lot. Golova comes in at a close second. I like the urban town part of Golova a lot. I think the actual base of the hill where it's just fields and farmland is a lot less interesting, and like probably a lot of you guys, Ruka does come in at a 3rd place. But that wraps up the news today, guys. I want to thank you so much for watching. Hey, if you did enjoy the video, why not leave a thumbs up on it? Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. But I want to thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you with another Zombies news update tomorrow. Peace.